Welcome back. We're still talking restructuring Nigeria to be or not to be. Let me just quickly take this before Mr. Shomi answers the question, who will bail the cat? If we don't change the entire constitution, okay, the constitution of Nigeria was done to favor the military so they can hold on to power. If we don't change the constitution, entire constitution, we are going nowhere. Review doesn't work. Total change is the right way to go. That's Victor Owo. So who will bail the cat?
Yes, it's quite clear.
As we wind down.
Yes, it's quite clear that the National Assembly as it is today is not in a position, to help restructure the country. We are back to the people. Power is entrusted in the people in the National Assembly. The ultimate power belongs to the people. And I think it is time for us, because I really feel sorry for Mr. President, who is thinking of diversifying the economy. How do you diversify the economy when in reality everybody needs to go to Abuja for free money rather than actually changing all the laws, inhibiting the development of resources, both agricultural and mineral resources, in each of the states of the Federation? So we need to think beyond National Assembly and begin to say, look, we need the coalition of all the past recommendations on restructuring and then submit these through a referendum to the people of Nigeria, even if it means having to set up a committee or a group of people to look at it, but it should be submitted to the people of Nigeria, to say, look, we agree to this or we don't agree to this. And the moment we do that is beyond the National Assembly, because the National Assembly cannot be expected to legislate itself out of existence. One risk we are all taking is that we think that prayers will save us from the imminent collapse of our country if we fail to restructure. Prayers alone cannot solve it, because God has given us the wisdom and also the vision to see the problems. So what are we doing about it when in reality so many countries, including Great Britain that colonized us, are to restructure? For instance, just to round up, Great Britain restructured to provide for a Welsh parliament, to provide for Scottish parliament. They didn't have that before. So they had to restructure, in response to the agitations, from Scotland. So the same thing is, and it didn't lead to the collapse of UK till today. So it's the same thing we need to do. Those who are against restructuring need to understand that nobody wants the country to succeed. Nobody is thinking of 3 regional system of government. When you have 6 zones, then that would have reduced the possibility of anybody being powerful enough to succeed. But we will be able to develop development and growth and eliminate poverty for our people.
Okay, we need to wind down now.
As we wind down, this is a question someone put out here. Martin says, how would it be, take the recommendations from the National Conference, put them together, send it to every Nigerian who has a voter's card or who has an international passport, as the case may be, a means of identification, and then they come out to vote for each part of it they want, as though it's an election. I'm just paraphrasing what he put here. Would that work? Would that help? Since Mr. Shomi said, give it to the people.
Well, that's like a referendum, isn't it?
Yes, he said give it to the people. But Martin is saying, put down everything,
let the
send
people
the
be the ones
pick
to
up,
decide.
and then select, each person selects what he or she wants, and then drop it as like a voting thing.
Well, that's very interesting. The first thing I want to say is that we have a weird unitary federalism. It cannot work. And now going to answer the question, how many people who are said to be carrying voters' card are literate? Did they vote because they knew the individuals could perform, or they voted on certain other sentiments, like
ethnic,
religion and tribe? If the people are not educated, this kind of democracy we are practicing cannot work. People would then go to them. We are from the same tribe. We are from the same religion. The mosque will tell the people. The imam will tell the people what to do. The Christians will tell people. The pastors will tell people what to do. So when you now say it, they will go to them and tell them to put down or put their terms where they will have them put them. We won't get anywhere. The point is there are elites in this nation, we want Nigeria to be one. God wants us to be one. But freedom, peace, and unity can only be achieved only when people are honest. There's so much of braggadocio and pride within certain ethnic nations, within the Nigerian nation, that do not even recognize that there are other nations, and they don't care. Until this kind of pride is shared, and we come together to say, look, we are brothers, we want to live together, then suspicion, which is what is the problem today, then the issue of suspicion will go down, and people who have the knowledge will now tell you what to do. And then let me just like one last point. When you're talking even about, you say, okay, let us, the economy will now have to diversify. What do you diversify? If a group of people in some ethnic groups will not work, if they don't have the resources that are available, I mean, in Zamfara, you have commercial quantity of gold. People are using alluvial gold. They are taking them out of the country. Not a single penny is recorded in the government purse. And then you want demand in the Niger Delta that you cannot have what it has. It is inequitable. For as long as this inequitable system exists, there can be no freedom, there can be no peace, and there can be no unity.
Okay. So, Joe, finally.
Yeah, referendum is not part of the means of amending the constitution. And so there is no system in place to enable the Nigerian people. Even during elections, you cannot submit constitutional amendment issues to them to vote on. That's part of the minus in the current constitution. In America that they copied, amendments, you can make it part, during election, you give it to the people, they will vote directly, over and above the parliament. You understand? So, but in Nigeria, it is a preserve of the National Assembly to amend the election. And they are now using that to hold all of us to ransom. It's either we do it, if we don't approve it, you cannot move. So, all those who are against restructuring in Nigeria, they are enemies of Nigeria. We should just get that clear. And they are enemies of God. So we need to do away with them one way or the other. How we do it. And for as long as Nigeria continues to hold people together by force.
Mr. Ojo, we have to go.
But when it suited them, they used the doctrine of necessity. When it suited them, the National Assembly, they used doctrine of necessity.
Yes.
There is no provision for doctrine of necessity in our constitution. So therefore, it is still the people that would have to force this change. Okay.
Good place to leave it. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We have been chatting with Mr. Tunde Akinleye, a social Akindele, a social commentator, Shukwa Ojo, a legal practitioner, as well as Biodun Shewumi. Well, yes, a social commentator who has run away, but we're glad to welcome him back. Thank you very much. Sunrise will return in just a moment. Please make sure you're part of the next conversation.